have such a soft spot for a Mesa Boogie Dual Rectifier or a triple rectifier for that matter. I feel like it's such an iconic amp, and back when I was growing up, it was the amp to have. Of course, if you were like part of like the alternative subculture of music, or the super punks, wherever you needed like super high gain tones, Mesa Boogie Dual Rectifier was the thing to have. But sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, I pull out my AMPLITUBE 5 and it just doesn't give me what I want. But today, my friend, I found a solution that got me that much closer. Let's go check it out. Amor lanzas now. We break it down, baby. Alright, my friend, thank you so much for being here again today. And like I was saying, today is all about the Mesa Boogie Dual Rectifier. If you watch all my videos, you know by now that I am not like one of these people that I'm going to be like super concerned about authenticity or anything like that, because I know how much work goes into making a record. And in the end, all these like authenticity things just go down the drain because you're just trying to get the high power record that you wanted, that is as loud as compressed as it can be so it can compete with everybody else. And you're literally just trying to squeeze everything you can get out of every single instrument just coming out of 2 speakers or a couple set of headphones. So I don't know how authentic the sound is at the end of a production. Maybe when you're playing live, you can actually appreciate some of those things better, because when you're in the room, your ears just don't lie. You hear what you hear, and if something's there, it's there, and if it's not, it's not. It's not like you're going to start like pulling up EQs and compressors and everything else just to get the things to sound the way you want it. We're not in the 80s anymore where people were like carrying all these rigs to the shows to like play at the Viper Room. The Viper Room, if you don't know, is just that very emblematic show venue here in LA. So bottom line, I was thinking to myself, how can I get this dual rectifier to sound closer to what I'm used to, keeping it safe and simple? Because I don't know about you, and I'd be super curious to know your thoughts in the comment section down below. But I feel like the least you process a sound, the better and the bigger it sounds. But of course, I'm guilty of overprocessing everything too. But since life is a journey and we're not going to be the same one tomorrow that we are today, let's walk this path together, my friend, and let's get a great dual rectifier tone together. So let's stop the talking, get to the rocking, and grab a guitar. Today we're going to be using my Gibson Les Paul Studio because this thing has like infinite sustain in a Mesa Boogie. Alright, let's go. And this would be the perfect time for you, my friend, to go get your set of headphones or plug in your favorite speakers, get your AirPods, wherever you feel comfortable listening to. Use it right now so we can have a constructive conversation in the comment section. Alright, let's go. Okay, so here we are, AMPLITUBE 5, and this is just like the default sound that we always have, like a Marshall sound. Alright, so that's that. But let's go do what we came here to do. Boom, let's find that Mesa Boogie Dual Rectifier, and it's right here. And in its default state, it sounds like this. I mean, it's hard for me not to hear like a bunch of songs from like the late 90s and early 2000s. With so much nostalgia. I love that era. Right, so now that we are in our Mesa Boogie, what's the first thing that I feel? Maybe like there's not enough gain? I mean, maybe if we're playing a song like this, like, maybe that would be enough gain. But if we're trying to play something like this, I mean, it's almost enough, but not really. And if you see right here in our gain department, we are already at 7.7 in this setting. So basically not a lot of space to go. And let's see what happens if we were to push this all the way up. All of a sudden it just gets like all muddy and like blah. You don't really like the sound, right? So we would have to go back there and let's see, turn it back down. And what would I do now? I would probably go get some sort of like a boost. In this case, we have this booster. We're going to put it right in front of the amp, just whatever default state it is. A little bit better, but there's still something missing, right? So at that point, I'll probably just go right here and start tweaking and adding a little bit of treble. I don't know. Maybe a little bit of presence. Maybe I took it a little bit too far, but we're going in the right direction, right? But see what I'm talking about? I feel like I'm already pushing a little bit too hard. Then what else would I do? I'd maybe start taking the mids down a little bit down. I mean, that's starting to sound pretty good. But I feel like I'm just tweaking too much and still there's something
missing in my head.
And of course, I already know where we're going, so I know what I'm missing. So without further ado, my friend, what happens if we were to go and change our cabinet? Let's go right here, take this out of this chain that is binding him to the amp, and we're just gonna change it. Okay, so the first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna try to mute the room for now, just so that we can get a very tight sound. And now, let's just do a little bit of a tour, if you will, from the different cabinets that we have. This is right now where we are. I'm just going to be playing that riff over and over again, and watch right here because I'm going to be changing the cabinets so you can hear the differences. Let's go. Anyway, so I think we heard enough. I want to say that maybe the runner-ups would be this slash one. And the Road King Vintage. I mean, that's really fitting. And if you think about it, at least in my case, most of the times that I've used a Mesa Boogie Dual Rectifier, I've used it with even like maybe like a Marshall, or I use it with a Road King loaded with like, I don't know, maybe like V30s or something like that, right? And what happens right here? Let's go check it out. There we go. We have vintage 30s. So it makes a lot of sense that we're getting more compression and more saturation, right? A lot of bite, really aggressive, a lot of definition. And I'd be very curious to know what cabinets are you using in real life when you use a dual rectifier, or when you're using AMPLITUBE or any other amp sim that you're using. I'd be super curious to know, so let me know in the comment section down below. And while you're there, remember to like, subscribe, and do all those cool little things that we like to do on YouTube. And enjoy this little bossa nova, my friend. I hope your day keeps getting better and better and better. Alright, let's go. So there you go, vintage 30s. I feel like that's really close to what I was looking for in my head. But now that I know that it's a British vintage 30, why don't we go to my favorite vintage 30 and change all the speakers at the same time? Why am I changing the speakers at the same time? I don't know about you, but there's something about the different mid-ranges when they start collapsing with each other. It just sounds like phasey to me. Like it's not one sound. It's not really cohesive. I prefer to get different tones by using different microphones than using different speakers. And if I'm going to try to use different speakers, I just want to use two different cabinets all together, and then maybe try to mess with the phase later on in my DAW if I can. There's something fishy when I use two different speakers in the same cabinet. I don't know, maybe it's just in AMPLITUBE. Let me know what your experience is. Okay, so let's hear that right now. I mean, to me, that sounds really good. And just to keep it simple, we're not going to do absolutely anything in the master. But what we are really going to do right now is we're going to switch this little gain structure situation, because I hear like there's something happening before this. And we're going to go right here to our mixer section. Let's see what's happening before I start talking. when you clip Amplitude 5, you really notice. It's not just the clipping sound, but it's also like aliasing that starts happening. And it also makes total sense from like an engineer's perspective. And I'm not going to bore you with that right now. But the solution is going to be, we're going to try to turn this guy minus 6 dB right here in the bus, this yellow fader. And we're going to turn this output all the way up back to 0. Let's hear how that sounds. It sounds like the same sound, but without the little ugly little creatures that were just coming into our existence. So the only thing that I would like to do, I want to keep it simple and not do anything. But you know me, I'm going to do the bare minimum. And there's something really beautiful every time I get this EQ, the EQ81, even if I don't do anything with it. Let's open it right here so that we can check it out. And let's just go right here and turn it down maybe 1 notch. And then let's just hear the differences. And with that note, my friend, let's go get a few conclusions. All right, my friend, so that's how I figure out how to fix my Mesa Boogie Dual Rectifier problems. Just by switching something so simple like the cabinet, which I feel is something that you would experiment with like very easily, like in real life. Or maybe not easily when you think about logistics, but let's say if you're in a studio, there's a bunch of cabinets. You're going to go and plug them all in and just see what's best, right? So in that same fashion, I took myself into that journey earlier today when I was trying to make that sound and struck gold, because now my Mesa Boogie sounds a little bit better than it used to. And if from now on, every time I open my Mesa Boogie Dual Rectifier, it sounds like that and I don't have that cloudiness and that like murky mid-range that I was not really enjoying, without having to do all these like extreme boosts in the treble and in the presence, and of course, I didn't went as far as I probably would like to. If you've seen other of my videos, I usually go pretty hard on the presence and the treble knob. But today I was keeping it easy because I knew that I was going to change the cabinet and I was going to fix all my issues. And I wanted to make sure that you were hearing the problem instead of just like try to fix it with the knobs and start getting like really pesky about the little differences of what would be the difference between fixing it with the knobs and fixing it with the cabinet. And maybe that's a good idea for another video, but not today, my friend. For today, go to the comment section down below and let me know what you thought about all this situation. Remember to like, subscribe, and if you can financially support me, my friend, please hit that super thanks button. I appreciate you so much. If you have more time to watch another video, go watch this one right here, and I'll be waiting for you. Other than that, thank you for coming here today, my friend. See you soon.